Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Breakthrough here in the NLG universe. I'm your commentator, Roush Games, for Week 3 of Breakthrough Programming. We're going to hop right into this show tonight, where we are bringing you some of the youngest up-and-coming wrestlers here in NLG. Our first match is a one-fall match between Jordan Xander and Alpha. Xander, as we know, is still looking for a major push here in NLG, but he's been on the roster from the get-go. Alpha, on the other hand, is interesting in this match, as this past week on NLG main show, he and his tag team partner, Ace, proclaim that they are undergoing a little bit of a training program over the next several days, weeks, months, however long it takes, with the hopes of eventually putting themselves in line for a shot at the NLG tag team title. So we can consider this Alpha's first training match, as he goes one-on-one with Jordan Xander here to open Breakthrough this in our third week of programming. We get into the match itself, and Alpha with a nice big chop working on the leg of Jordan Xander while he's down on the ground. Later on in the match, he throws Xander outside, he climbs up the top turnbuckle, and there's a huge elbow drop to the floor of the arena. Elbow right into the chest of Jordan Xander. The ref has a 1 count, Alpha not caring. But there he goes, throwing Jordan Xander back into the ring, and he's going to get at least one shot. There's an elbow to the head right before he goes back in, and now Alpha back inside the ring, and he chants, and the crowd loves it. Later on in the match, Xander has Alpha in a headlock, and there's a nice big jawbreaker from Xander, sending Alpha down to the mat. But Xander himself is hurt, he's holding his head, he's taking a beating from the elbows of Alpha so far, and Alpha's back up on his feet with a big-time swinging neck breaker onto the veteran. Alpha signaling to the crowd, this can only be something huge. He's got Jordan Xander up on his shoulders, and he swings him around, and there it is. Face first into the mat goes Jordan Xander. Alpha rolls him over. 1, 2, 3. Alpha wins, and we can consider this the first match on his road to eventually becoming an NLG Tag Team Champion. This is going to be a very exciting couple of weeks for Ace and Alpha. We move on to our second match of the evening here in our recap. We've got another one-fall match between Tyler Torque, who won his debut match last week against Chris the Lone Wolf Kendall, both debuting superstars last week on Breakthrough, and The Motor, who is probably the angriest person we will see tonight. On NLG this week, he lost the number 1 contenders match against Ian Mecca for Lance Zachary's $1 Million Championship, and while Ian Mecca should definitely be happy that he won a number 1 contender spot, I mean, he's a brand new superstar, and I am personally in love with him. I have a very big man crush on Ian Mecca. and The Motor should definitely be angry about losing the match, but if anything, I'm left scratching my head as to the legitimacy of this belt as a competitive title. It is a belt that Mr. Black arbitrarily gave to Lance Zachary to give everybody in his corporate little stable a shot at gold. And now people are defending it in matches. Now Lance Zachary has to fight for it. I don't think he's got the chops, and I think Ian Mecca's going to rip his face off when they get in the ring together. We'll see what happens at Stairway to Heaven, though. Now on to this match, since I spent the entire thing commentating on last week's events. We have Tyler Torque very much in control of the Motor here. Motor more veteran. Later on in the match, though, Motor has Tyler Torque down. We got a pinfall. We got a 1 count, but Tyler Torque kicks right out of that. The Motor is the veteran, but he is very angry, and I just kind of feel bad for Tyler Torque standing in his way this evening on Breakthrough. Motor going up top, and there's a huge elbow drop, digging his elbow right into the chest of Torque, but Torque no-sells it like a boss and gets right up. Gets the Motor into a headlock, into an arm lock. Motor reverses into his own side headlock. Oh, and there's a big-time reverse Russian leg sweep, and Tyler Torque is busted wide open. He's bleeding profusely from his forehead right off the bat. Bad point of contact. Now we've got a snapmare from the Motor into a reverse chinlock, and Torque is trying to tap out. He's trying his hardest to get out of this maneuver, and the Motor inexplicably lets go. It looked like Torque was about to give up there. But now Torque, later on in the match, has a cross arm breaker locked in on the Motor. The Motor is struggling to get himself out. He may regret letting go of that chinlock earlier on, but the Motor kicks his way out of it, and the match continues on. And now the Motor working on the leg again of Tyler Torque while he's down, stomping on his hamstring. He signals to the crowd, working on the arm here later on in the match, both men holding their heads. And now the Motor gets Tyler Torque in the Kimura. We know this lock. It could break arms. The Motor just has to torque up on Torque here, and he's going to snap it. And Tyler Torque taps out. The Motor wins. And while it doesn't give him the number 1 contender spot for the $1 Million Championship, it does exact a little bit of painful vengeance on Tyler Torque, who is just at the wrong place at the wrong time here on Breakthrough. Our third match of the evening is another one-fall, one-on-one match, and we have a debuting superstar here tonight. This is the high-flying athletic youngster named Jake Harris. A huge name coming up from the independent scene recently, and we will see a lot of athleticism from him on display in this match. But he'll be taking on Hardcore Quinn, who couldn't be more of an opposite to what this man Jake Harris is going to be. There is nobody grumpier in the NLG universe than the Hardcore Quinn, and where Jake Harris is going to try to finesse and athleticize his way around the man in the clown makeup. The man in the clown makeup is looking to just brutalize Jake Harris. He wants to put him out of action in his first ever match so he can never wrestle again, but Jake Harris with a huge enziguri there as Hardcore Quinn misses an elbow drop, and this could be a nice match between their two different styles. Jake Harris, very well known for being a high flyer there with a springboard punch to the face of Hardcore Quinn. Now Quinn resting on the ropes. Harris is actually going to position him halfway through the ropes with a knee to the face, one more knee lift. Quinn is staggered. Harris backs off, points to the sky, and a huge kick to the forehead sends Hardcore Quinn outside, and it's followed up by a springboard crossbody down to the floor of the arena. Harris hits it beautifully. And now Harris is all kinds of fired up. Later on in the match, we're back in the ring. Quinn throwing Harris into the turnbuckle. And he's going to take him, and we know this, shoulder right into the steel post. This is Quinn's style, a brawler, a brutalizer. He wants to break him. Quinn rolls out of the arena for no reason. Later on in the match, Quinn lying face down on the mat. Harris picks him up. And now Harris throws him into the turnbuckle through the referee. Huge drop kick to the chin sends Quinn right to the mat. Harris signaling it's time for Quinn to take a nice long nap. He spins him around. And there's a big inverted code breaker, and Hardcore Quinn is busted wide open. Harris is going to drag him toward the center of the ring. Here's a pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Jake Harris wins his debut match on Breakthrough. What an amazing match by the high-flying youngster, and this is exactly what the NLG Universe needs. This man, mark my words, is going to set this company on fire in the next coming months. Now, in our fourth match of the evening, we have another one-fall encounter. Chris Kendall, the Lone Wolf, the man who lost to Tyler Torque in their mutual debut match last week on Breakthrough, looks to even out his win-loss record and turn some heads on the main NLG roster, hopefully clearing up a spot for himself in the future. But he's taking on the man whose name resides next to the definition for potential in whatever dictionary you're reading, The Show. And frankly, I'm tired of mentioning how much potential this guy has. It's been weeks, it's been months since NLG was created and came onto the scene. We're heading into our second pay-per-view already, and all we've talked about is how much raw potential this big man has. He's never used it. He's been here from the beginning, and he's stuck wrestling in the fourth match on Breakthrough. It's a minor show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm no longer sold on The Show. I don't think he can hack it in this company, and I'm pulling for Chris Kendall in this match. I shouldn't be a biased commentator. Doesn't matter. On to the match itself. The Show looking to gain control, and he's got an obvious size advantage at least 100 pounds over Chris Kendall, demonstrated by a big running tackle there. Kendall, later on in the match now, has The Show from behind, then into a side headlock, twists him around, and that's a huge club to the neck. That's the way to bring a big man down, that or the legs. He's going to drag Show to the center of the ring, and he's going to cover him for a pinfall here. We've got a 1 count, but Show immediately kicks out, not ready to give up quite yet. And Kendall with a big elbow drop standing there. Show immediately gets up, and there is the strongman scoop slam. Shades of Tony Atlas. And a big shoulder block in the corner later in the match, and the Show just seems to be dominating Chris Kendall here. I may be eating my words, ladies and gentlemen. He's got Chris Kendall up on the top rope. This is going to be a huge maneuver, and there's a double underhook suplex from the Show. Chris Kendall is down on his back. We may be seeing a subdural hematoma in a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. Pay attention to that tattoo on the Lone Wolf. And there's a suplex clutch into a brainbuster driver thing that this announcer does not quite know the name of exactly, but it's a huge maneuver. Later on in the match, we're outside of the ring, and the Show throws Kendall into the wall and hits him with another shoulder tackle into a headbutt. And he is just dominating the much smaller superstar. But Kendall gets up with a punch there and a reversal into a running STO, and he knocks the big man down. Now he picks Show up. The ref is on a 3 count on both men. And there's a big momentum-assisted clothesline sending Show to the ground again, fighting on the floor of the arena right near those steel steps. And now, wait a minute. The Lone Wolf has him in a powerbomb clutch. This is the 3-time powerbomb. How is he lifting the Show? The Show has at least 100 pounds of pure, dense, concrete, tough muscle on him. And that's 3 powerbombs in a row on the arena floor. And the referee had a 7 count. But the Lone Wolf doesn't want it to end that way. He resets and goes out to reclaim the Show. And he's going to throw him back into the ring. I would have just let the countout happen, Kendall. You need a win here. But the Show takes that little breather, and he uses it, and he whips Kendall into the ropes, into the turnbuckle. And that's into a huge twisting back suplex, dumping Chris Kendall in the center of the ring. And there he is, looking just like Ronnie Coleman, flexing now. The show is ready for something big here. And this is another suplex clutch, going into the big brainbuster driver, Dealing John. And the show crawls over. There's a pinfall. 1, 2, 3. The show wins. He makes me shut up. I'm going to run out of the arena for a few moments so he doesn't come over here and put me through my announcer's table. And now I am back for our main event, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually going to be a 6-man ladder match. The stipulation is simple. Whoever holds the briefcase after this match earns 1 spot in the 6-man Money in the Bank ladder match at the upcoming Stairway to Heaven pay-per-view. We've got 2 debuts in this match, the first of which is Nathan Goyle right here. We've got Azrael, who we know very well. He's been around here for quite a while. We've got our second debut, Zak Whittell, another nice rookie here on the Breakthrough roster. And we know Ace, we can consider this a training match for him as well, as he and Alpha have announced that they will be training for a shot at the tag team titles very shortly here in NLG. We're excited to see that. We have Jay Morgan, who debuted last week on Breakthrough, looking to make a name for himself in a match that could put him in a really big match at a really big pay-per-view. And finally, a name we all know well, Justice, making his way down to the ring. This is going to be the most exciting main event we've had on Breakthrough yet. I might call this one of the most exciting matches the NLG Universe has ever seen. And we're underway. The ladders are outside. The briefcase is suspended, and all 6 men form pairs going into each other. The 2 rookies, Goyle and Whittell, go for each other on one corner. Justice whipping Ace into the corner. And Azrael and Jay Morgan kind of going after each other. Ace working to fight off Justice right now. And outside of the ring, Azrael and Jay Morgan are staring at each other, potentially exchanging email addresses so they can exchange snickerdoodle cookie recipes after the match. Not fighting. Oh, and there's Azrael with a surprise punch. He breaks up the reverie. And inside the ring, we have the rookie, Nathan Goyle, the hard hitter, just laying out the competition with a ladder, using it as a weapon, hitting Ace while he's down right in the back. Azrael in complete control of Jay Morgan outside of the ring, and Zak Whittell just peeling himself up off the floor of the arena. In the ring later on, Goyle still with the ladder, but Azrael steals it from him. And he's going to set it up instead of using it as his own weapon, but it's immediately toppled by Jay Morgan. Outside of the ring, Zak Whittell, he's got Ace on top of the announcer's table. There's a DDT through the table. Ace is getting decimated in this match, and Zak Whittell, he kills him. Climbing up the ladder now in the ring. Couldn't quite get it, could Justice. It was a little off kilter. Nathan Goyle pushes it down. Set up in the center of the ring by Jay Morgan now. Is someone going to go up? Nathan Goyle is heading up the ladder. Everybody else is fighting each other. Nobody's paying attention to him. Oh, but a maneuver from Justice knocks the ladder over. Now Nathan Goyle is hanging from the briefcase. Nobody's paying attention to him. He could easily come down with that thing with his body weight. His grip's got to be softening. And there he lands on the ladder in the center of the ring. Skip ahead further on. Justice again has his ladder pushed out of the way. He has to jump down. Nathan Goyle trying to get him down off of it. And Nathan Goyle sets him up for a big-time front suplex there. Bodies flying everywhere here in the middle of this match. Nathan Goyle with a big back suplex to Jay Morgan. Oh, it's going to be a 3-time back suplex. Looks to be a Nathan Goyle special here. And now Zak Whittell holding the ladder. Later on in the match, 1 ladder set up, 1 down. Zak Whittell up on the turnbuckle. Ace staggered. And a huge flipping Hurricane Rana from the newcomer. Impressive move. Ace just getting beaten on in this match. Goyle again sets up the ladder. It looks a little bit off center, though. I don't think he can quite reach from there. Instead, he's going to go all the way up top. And he goes for a double axe handle, landing it right into Zak Whittell's back. Now going up the ladder is Goyle again. He's been all over the briefcase as the newcomer. And he's yanking on it, but he's pushed away and peeled off by Whittell. Now we've got Ace up top, and he gets his hands on it. But Azrael punches him off. And he's just kind of asleep up on top. Big maneuver from Nathan Goyle to Zak Whittell there. Later on in the match, Ace is dead on the timbers of the table, and Azrael just spike pile driver Justice on it. All the veterans are outside. All the newcomers are inside. The new guys are the ones going after the briefcase. The veterans are just looking to hurt each other. There's another big driver from Nathan Goyle, this time onto Jay Morgan, and Goyle is the only man standing in the ring. He's slowly climbing the ladder. This could be victory. Nobody is paying attention to him, and Jay Morgan is taking a dirt nap. Goyle is pulling on the briefcase up top, but he staggers. Whittell is trying to get close to him. Morgan trying to get close, but Goyle comes down with it. Nathan Goyle wins the match. He comes down with the briefcase. He will have a spot in the Money in the Bank match at Stairway to Heaven. This is very impressive for the newcomer. You can't really get anything better in your first match in a wrestling promotion than a spot in a potential main event match that could give you a shot at a title. Unbelievable. Congratulations, Nathan Goyle. As usual, ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed the show, please respond to our couple of viewer questions here. I am your commentator, Roush Games, and I'm saying until next time, bye-bye.